I'm going to be showing you how to line up the metronome to a track that previously wasn't recorded with a metronome. So in this example, I have recorded a little piano ditty that is not locked up to the metronome at all. And when I hit play, you'll see not only is it not lined up to the metronome, but it is constantly changing tempo. Here it is. Okay, so as you can see, this would be a lot of problems if you were trying to record drums to it or anything. So what we need to do is create a tempo map, which is going to have some time changes so that you will hear the metronome clicking with the downbeats and individual beats of the measures. And the way that you're going to want to approach this is, first of all, you're going to want to turn all your tracks to being sample-based. And doing this makes it so that as we make tempo changes, the track isn't going to be shifting its notes around. So basically the way I did that is I just held down Option, which means anything I do for this track is going to do this for all the tracks in the project, and then I just clicked on this little icon and clicked on sample-based. So once I have that down, what I'm going to want to do is find a tempo that's pretty close to what I am playing. So what I'm going to want to do is, if you press Command 1, it'll pull up your transport, and just make sure that your conductor is on. And I'm going to hit play, and then I'm going to double click up here on the current tempo, and I'm going to tap T to kind of determine what the current tempo is. Here I go. Okay, so we're seeing it somewhere around 138. So the reason why I do that is just so that I have a good count into the first measure. So what we're going to want to do now at this point is get the downbeat of the first measure on this track to line up with the downbeat of one of my measures here. So in this case, I'm just going to have it line up with the downbeat of measure 3. So I'm going to switch to slip mode, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm just going to shift the track over so that the downbeat, and this little ditty has a pickup note, so I don't want this first note to line up. I want the second note here to line up on the downbeat. So so checking that out, that's sounding like it's pretty close. Of course, it's not 100% accurate, but we're going to now lock it all in using Identify Beat. So what we are going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to show Pro Tools what points of this audio file matches certain measures. So in other words, we're going to identify this as measure 3, beat 1. We're going to identify this downbeat here with this measure as the beat 1 of measure 4, and so forth as we go. So we want to start off by first identifying this first one. So to do that, I'm going to go back to my grid mode. I'm going to click here so that I am right on the downbeat of measure 3. I'm going to press Command I, and you can see it's saying that this is measure 3, beat 1. We're going to say OK. And the tempo map up here, you can see changes blue, which means that we are in an identify beat mode. And so I can go ahead and I can click on any of these if I needed to and adjust and even identify measure 3, beat 1 somewhere else if I needed to. But I've got a different kind of flexibility than when it's all green up here and I'm changing the tempo. And I'll give you another example of the other mode here in just a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and hit play and find the downbeat for the next measure. Okay, so it's right here. So I'm going to hold down Command and click right before this chord. And the reason why I'm holding down Command is that's a way to temporarily suspend grid mode if you would like. And if you don't want to keep switching between slip and grid, then just stay in grid mode and hold down Command, and that'll allow you to click outside of whatever your grid settings are. So the other thing I'm doing is I am making sure my tab to transient is on, so that when I hit tab, you can see it moves to the next note, to the beginning of the next note. And that, of course, becomes really helpful instead of trying to always click right on the note. So I'm going to press Command-I again, and up pops the window. And whatever number I end up typing, you're going to see it zeroes out all the numbers to the right. So right here, you can see that if I press 4, you can see it zeroed out the beat to be beat 1, and then any subdivisions were automatically zeroed out. And that's important to know, because you don't want to get to a point where you're typing in all 3 of those numbers. So I'm going to say OK here. I'm going to find the beat 3. So here's beat 3. So I'm going to, again, Command click right before the note. I'm going to press tab, Command-I, and this time I'm going to press the right arrow key, and I'm going to press 3, and as you can see, that zeroed out all the numbers to the right. Press enter. That's now right in. So now we're going to go to the downbeat of this next measure. Press tab, Command-I, and this should be the downbeat of measure 5. So I'm going to press 5 and zeroes out the 2 numbers to the right. Press OK. So I think you're probably getting the idea here. I'm going to do a few more here. And as you get going on this, you'll find out that you'll start getting a lot faster. But the first few will take you probably a little bit to get used to. But here we go. I'm going to go ahead and play what I've got here. So way better. And of course, this chord right here wasn't right in with the click on beat 3, so I'm just going to go ahead and identify that one as well to make it a little bit more accurate. But you see, by identifying the beats, you can see how these tempo changes are being created, since the material originally wasn't played 100% accurate. So the trick now, though, is once you get to this point where you've identified the beats for a certain area, is that then you can straighten out the section so that it is 100% accurate. And the way that you can do that is going back over to any of your music tracks and switching that back to tick-based. And by doing that, now as we make any tempo changes, it's going to shift the notes around to follow those tempo changes. So by holding down Command and clicking on the plus arrow up here on this tempo ruler, I can switch to my tempo events, which is back to the green ruler. And so you can see here now I can change the tempo by clicking and dragging. And as you see that, you see how it's shifting all the notes around. So if I select this area and I hit delete and delete these tempo changes, you can see now it's shifted this audio file so that now it is played right in time with whatever metronome I choose. So right now it looks like we're at 143. So and I can, of course, slow it down or speed it up really fast. And it sticks right with the metronome. So anyway, I hope you find that helpful, and good luck with your project.